This is the installation of my new Frontrunner roof rack on my Jeep Commander. A couple of years ago, when I first bought and started building out the Jeep Commander, one of the first items I purchased was a Garvin Wilderness Rack. It served me very well until I purchased a new rooftop tent. After that, I ran with the tent on some makeshift rails for around 8 months. It worked very well to hold the tent, but I do a lot more with my Jeep that doesn't involve just sleeping. I started doing my research and contacting different companies. Brian at Frontrunner Outfitters was incredibly helpful. They, like most people, don't actually have a kit for the Commander. Brian and I went back and forth to find the best solution for the rig. I finally felt confident with the solution that was going to work. I ordered the parts. The parts were shipped in 2 boxes totaling just under 100 pounds. I was pleased with how everything was packed and organized. Everything included a friendly note with the name of the person who packed it, from the complete kit down to the bags of nuts and bolts. So for reference, in the box there is your wrench, even though it says you need them. Mine was in with the corner bits. Okay, so what we found here is that the universal rails do not have, if you look here, we've got the notch at the top, one hole, we've got another hole down here at the bottom, and nothing in the middle. So what that means is that we have to figure it out. So on the top of the Jeep, we have 5 holes, and unfortunately the 2 ends do not all line up, so I'm going to have to drill 4 new holes into this rail. I'm not 100% sure the best way to do it, but what I'm going to try to do is to take the OEM rail that obviously has all of the holes for it. I'm going to tape the Frontrunner rail to the back side, and then I'm going to mark it, pull it off, and drill it. And hopefully that'll be the trick. If not, well, try something else. Measure twice, cut once. I did not listen to. Okay, so test 1, lining it up nice and neat with the, come around this way, with the inside of the rail, failed miserably. As we can see, when it came through the inside, it came through the side of the rail. So I am trying it again. This line here lines up with, seems to line up all the way through with the center. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully it'll work this time. This time I only drilled the one end of the hole. And then I lined up the front, and that seems to be my poor camera work. Seems to be correct. I got the rack on, I got the lights mounted back on. I have fashioned the air dam, which came with the rack that is farther forward and not mounted where it's supposed to be. And it's got a little gap in the front, which I may fill with something else. Better than nothing. The pieces that I got with the kit had these little foot brackets that were actually meant to go here between the cross beams if these things didn't line up the way that you wanted them to, and I wanted this as far forward as possible, just in case for a little bit of extra weight. And then the other one seemed to line up pretty even, so I took the 4 of those that I got, the 2 sets, and I used them and fashioned them into brackets to hold my 3 front lights, and then the back side of it to hold this one. And then I've got a little piece of steel hanging off the back, and I mounted my rear lights too. And then of course the other side. I like this rack. It very easily still fits in my garage. All right, so I've got everything wired up, plugged in. Of course, I forgot to film anything between the last time I filmed and now, which was a long time. No power. Everything comes around. Lights are all lit up. Still haven't put the back panels on. My mess of a wiring job. I've used a whole lot of silicone. I've double wrapped everything. I've used tape. I've used insulator. Everything has its own ground. Everything has its own lead. Lots of zip ties, hopefully, to hold wires up out of the way. Made my wiring harnesses a tad short, but that's okay. I don't know how well this is going to work in the garage, but we've got 2 lights in the back. The 2 lights in the back are on a single switch. I've got my side alley type lights used for a lot of different things. And I've got my corner lights, my MIG light bar, mirror on the exact same on the other side. Everything except for the back all has their own switch. I ran slightly heavier gauge wire on the side, so if I decide to add another light, which I will probably do on each side, I'll be able to run those off of that same switch. And of course, this is the mess that drives it all. And one thing I did notice about this roof rack and this location versus the old one is that with the exception of the light that's coming in being reflected off the garage door, the light is not leaching in through the sunroof, which with where they were mounted in my old, where they were mounted with the old roof rack, they actually sat right about here in this ballpark, and then when you would turn them on, if you didn't close the slide on the sunroof, you'd lose any semblance of night vision you had. There is not a lot of space between the roof rack and the roof. Now, the thing that makes this a little bit worrisome for me is that these are aluminum and there's a lot of flex. Standing on them, I haven't pushed them all the way down to touch the roof, and so I suspect that putting a tent or putting gear up here will not have that happen, but it's just something worth noting.